Hi everyone, and welcome to Bear in Mind's Game Chat. This week we'll be mainly discussing Gamescom from the weekend, and a couple of other things as well. How are you doing, James?
Yeah, not bad. I'll be honest with you, I have not experienced much of Gamescom, so a lot of the news will be new to me.
To be honest, I watched a decent highlight reel of opening night. That seemed to be where the bulk of stuff was, to be perfectly honest. A lot of other things have been a bit hands-on stuff because Gamescom seems to have tried to run it as close to a real convention as they would, getting the likes of IGN involved, where I think they've actually had closer deep dives like they usually would do, whether it be behind closed doors, where they see someone else playing something, or whether it be they've potentially been able to stream things. I know with certain games this year, they've taken advantage of things like Stadia.
I know they put demos up on Steam.
Yeah, Steam, XCloud, that sort of thing. So, but I think the main news for most consumers really came on Thursday, with the opening night live thing. I think the biggest news really was Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah,
Which,
I have watched the Ratchet and Clank trailer.
mm, um, it was more gameplay. So
Yeah.
some of the same stuff that we saw when at the Sony showcase a few months ago, and it looks fantastic.
It looks like a Ratchet and Clank, and if you like Ratchet and Clanks,
exactly, and I think it just the news that it's going to be launch window, whatever that means, because it's potentially not this year, but sooner than we probably thought.
Yeah.
And I think that just goes to show what absolute machines Insomniac Games are.
let's say you say it was launch window, which means
Yeah.
potentially it's next year's spring game for Sony.
It feels like it might be, yeah. Which just strengthens that lineup even more because obviously you've got Miles Morales. If not day one, it's certainly out by Christmas.
Yeah.
And they have.
Miles Morales has got to be day one.
I think it's day one. I imagine.
If
Especially
it's not
with,
day one, they haven't got anything.
yeah. Although with Halo being pushed to next year, I think if Insomniac say it's going to be a week late,
I think
So
Sony
the-
would just hold the PlayStation for a week.
potentially, yeah, potentially.
Like it. So I actually think Sony need to launch with something more than Microsoft do. Microsoft really
Yeah.
needed Halo to have a successful launch, but Microsoft can get away with like their whole Game Pass, so many games.
Yeah,
And
I think.
apparently the Medium is close to a launch title for Microsoft.
Yeah, although I think the thing with the medium is that obviously that's very much it's an adult title,
Yeah.
and it's not going to be a title that a big chunk of the potential Xbox crowd will play. It's. I mean, Halo is something that, let's face it, a minimum of 50% of the Xbox owners will at least try it, especially with Game Pass.
Yeah.
Halo is something that.
Halo's big.
I mean, there's a potential that Halo could do proportionally what Nintendo's flagship titles do. 'Cause
Yeah.
Nintendo's flagship titles, like the Switch has roughly 50, somewhere between 50 and 60 million consoles out there, and the flagship Nintendo titles like Mario, Mario Kart, Zelda, and even Animal Crossing are doing between 20 and 30 million.
Yeah.
which means that you're looking at 50% of the install base are actually buying that game, and Halo is that big for Microsoft that, especially with Game Pass, it could be doing similar numbers, if not more. It could be even up in the 90s. I don't see the medium doing that.
Back however, to Ratchet and Clank.
Well, that's what sorry, I was getting a bit long-winded, but that's the thing with Ratchet and Clank and Miles Morales, is that they are family games. Like, obviously, Ratchet definitely is kid-friendly.
Yeah.
Miles Morales is a kind of game that probably 8 years old and above, because there's going to be a few scarier moments and a few more kind of adult action moments. But it's a game that possibly the whole install base will be interested in playing.
Especially if nothing else is out at the time.
Especially if nothing
Ratchet
else
is certainly more popular than Knack.
Yes. Although I do love the... It's not a rumour, but the wishful thinking that one of the rips in space will be into the Knackverse. To be honest, even if it was like one level, or even just a joke in a
It just seems, at the moment, they seem to be just taking you to places you've been before in previous Ratchet games.
But then that's what we've seen. That doesn't necessarily...
Yeah, I do think... Yeah. I saw some comments, and I don't necessarily disagree with them, that it's starting to feel like the rips in space are not as big of a deal as initially kind of... That they are really just, for want of a better term, a new type of elevator. Like, just taking you to the next... Not masking the loading screen. It's still impressive how quickly it's loading the next area, but that I get a feeling they're going to be in very much set places.
I think they are possibly going to be in set places, but again, I'd speculate that. I mean, I'm not even speculation. I rewatched the Ratchet and Clank gameplay footage this morning. And that was very much at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
So that was almost essentially in the tutorial section of you getting used to what was there. So there is a chance that Ratchet and Clank build a portal gun style attachment.
Yeah.
At which point, obviously, they do get to play with things a lot more.
It'd be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to the game.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, like the with how good the one and only game they put out on the PlayStation 4 was, that I can't wait for this, because I got the PlayStation 4 one through PS Plus, but I'll when I have a PlayStation 5, whenever that will be, I'll happily spend real money on this as opposed to waiting for it on the on a PlayStation Plus. Freebie or whatever it comes.
I was wanting to go back and play the PS3 ones.
Yeah.
For future set of games. They're all on PS Now, bar the first one.
Oh. See, they were an interesting bunch, because that was when obviously they were focusing on Resistance, and they...
No, I believe near enough all the Resistance games were out by the time the first PS3 Ratchet came out.
Well, they did.
At the very least, the third one wasn't quite out yet when the first Ratchet, but I think...
Well, the Ratchet games on the PS3 were deliberately small games.
Not all of them. So they released... I think the timeline was they released the trilogy of the PS2 games. You know, when Sony were getting into HD remasters of PS2 titles. They'd had success with the God of War series, and they did it for Ratchet as well.
Yeah.
Then they released a full Ratchet and Clank. Then they released a smaller Ratchet and Clank. Then they released another full Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, because the smaller one also wasn't with full grade graphics as well. They'd taken because it was going to be a smallish release. From what I remember, it had a ever so slightly dialed back graphics so they could get it out. They made sure the gameplay was as good as it usually is, but it was very much here's a game, have it, enjoy it.
And then after that, they started experimenting with some different formulas, like a tower defense game and an arena game. But the The PS3 series was good.
But yeah, I mean, I dabbled with it on the PS3. I think I never got into them on the PS2. I think it was.
I was more of a Jack and Daxter person on PS2.
I think I was just a bit too old for cartoony looking platformers by the time the PS2 came out. It was something that I felt I probably missed the boat on, to be honest. Well, if anything, it seems a bit it's a bit unfortunate because I'll probably not enjoy them in the way that that people would have done at the time if I went back and played them now. However, saying that, I absolutely loved Ratchet and Clank on the PS4, so can't wait for this one. With it being so soon and them teasing Resistance quite a bit, I wonder how close they are to doing something with Resistance. Because their Twitter every week at the moment is Resistance. I still think it's a remaster, but it almost feels like it might be ready for next Christmas. And it might be them as opposed to someone else.
Yeah, maybe. It's not something I'm enthused about, but I'd play it.
It depends on how they're doing it, I suppose. Like if it's literally a reskinning, then I'd quite like to play the third one because I never played the third one.
I mean, as Sony shooters go, I've always preferred Killzone.
I've always preferred Killzone. I think this one felt a bit. The first one in particular felt like a PS2 game that had significantly better graphics.
Yeah.
And then the second one made an effort to make a leap, and graphically it really tried to make a leap because it was one of the first games that really went for it as far as absolutely ridiculously big draw distances, and because they made I remember they made a fuss about the giant invasion ship that was in the sky because it was real. It was there. They'd actually built this thing. It wasn't just like a flat graphic. There was literally a ship in the sky, and because of course at the time that was unheard of. So, and then the third one they took a more intimate kind of graphic style with it, and so I'd certainly play the third one again.
We also got in regards to news, we got a behind the scenes from BioWare on Dragon Age.
I didn't see any of that.
Yeah, I watched it just before we started recording. It's knowing where BioWare is. I love Dragon Age, especially Origins.
I'm slightly indifferent to Dragon Age, to be honest. I've dabbled a little bit. I've watched someone play.
I'll rephrase it. I love Dragon Age Origins. The second one, Inquisition, I never got much into, but the first Dragon Age, I played it and all its DLC.
Yeah.
But knowing where BioWare is at the moment, I can't get excited for it until we actually see it, because this was just a bunch of BioWare staff talking about how they're making Dragon Age. And it's like, yeah, we knew you were doing that. Like,
yeah, it feels. I think the problem with, as you say, where BioWare is at the moment, and with a property like Dragon Age, I can't help but feel it's a little bit like Bethesda talking about Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, like
it's not quite to that level of like, oh no.
I'm way more excited for, say, what Obsidian is doing over at Microsoft, because I know their track record is still pretty solid, right?
Yeah, and it looks like they've got a certain level of freedom. That Microsoft have gone, right, here's some money. Obviously, here's all our box of tricks. If you want to use any of our toys, go for it. But otherwise, do what you want. Because we can trust you to make some good games.
Yeah.
And that's really what you want. And I mean, that's sort of what Sony do with their bunch.
I'd say less so, but
probably a little bit less so. But I mean, they still have
Sony buys studios they know will happily make Sony games.
Now, yes, but I think the thing is that like getting to those points of Sony get what we now think of as a Sony game, like say Naughty Dog making the first Uncharted, that was a huge jump from what they'd done before. Because it like Uncharted doesn't look at anything like their previous platformers.
I don't think that first Uncharted is as big of a jump over Jak 3 as you'd think.
Yeah, I mean, realistic-wise though, like the realistic graphics, the fact that it's a person as opposed to a cartoon character.
Oh well, yeah,
like,
but
I think like
there's still a lineage there. There's still.
Oh, I mean, there
like,
is, but I think that like it was probably still a risk
like
to a level.
The latter two Jak games have more in common with the Uncharted franchise than they have in common with the Crash trilogy.
Fair enough. Yeah.
The first Jak is very much a platformer in that vein, but Jak 2 and Jak 3 have a lot more in common with what would become Uncharted than the other way round.
But then I always saw, like, because I never played them, but I was working in games retail during that period of Jak and Ratchet and Clank, and they were always sort of internal rivals. They felt like. So I wonder whether
the Sly trilogy as well,
and the Sly trilogy. So I wonder whether like Jak 2 and Jak 3 almost had to become more than they were. Because of
Jak 2,
the quality of character that you got in Ratchet and Clank.
Jak 2 has a flavour of GTA 2 at times.
Yeah?
Yeah, you steal cars, you drive them around the city.
Amazing. Going back to delayed games then, we'll go back to Halo shortly. This wasn't necessarily Gamescom news, but it came out I think it was a day before Gamescom started. Microsoft have dragged back in a former Halo studio exec, which in some ways is good, and in some ways possibly is awful. Because if it's at that stage where they are,
it's showing that potentially they lack faith in it.
Yeah. Which at this late stage in the game, when if coronavirus hadn't happened, we'd be 8 weeks away from Halo coming out. This is it's bad news, because I mean this. If he doesn't like what he sees,
it's potentially further away than we think. Even.
I mean, this could push Halo to 2022.
I don't think it. I won't go that far, but
like it depends how bad they think it is.
It might end up being a holiday game next year.
I think it already is a holiday game next year.
Which means a year without.
I think this confirmed it. I think they've got to get the multiplayer out.
Yeah, but that might not be in any fit state either.
If it plays well, and the graphics aren't going to be wonderful, obviously. But again, like going back to a previous discussion that we've had, I think that's to a certain degree that's an artistic choice rather than a lack of effort or power choice.
The other thing is they've potentially got to try and get something out from another studio quicker.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've mentioned the initiative,
but we haven't even seen anything from them. So
they hired someone new the other day, another new.
I think whatever they're working on is a long way off.
It does seem, unless they're doing more than one project.
I mean, the next project was probably closest to completion has got to be the Hellblade sequel.
Yeah, and one or two of the other two things that they're working on. But I mean, Hellblade is going to be the biggest out of those three.
Well, the other two things they're working on have got to be a way off yet.
Mm. Um, but again, I mean, you've got that the thing with with Hellblade is it's not a system seller. It's going to be
It'll be a good
an
game,
incredible game.
and it'll be a game a lot of people play through Game Pass. But
yeah, I mean, it'll add value to Game Pass, but it isn't necessarily going to add value to.
We've said before,
the Series X.
Game Pass for Microsoft is for system.
It is. It is. I think they. I think more than ever now, it's a question of time before they show off the Series S, because at this point, I don't like, unless they're selling the Series X, a truly incredible loss. What is the point in buying a Series X?
Because I still don't think Microsoft cares all that much if you're buying a Series X or a Series S, as long as you're subscribing to, because I mentioned previously I recently got a PC, right? That is where I'm going to play Xbox Microsoft games from here on out.
Yeah.
Because it's a decent PC. Yeah. I don't need a Series X anymore.
I think that's why the Series S will have to be released soon, and revealed soon, and make sure it's out for Christmas as well, because at this point, something that, again, the rumours suggest it's only 1080p, but it's going to guarantee 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
That is going to be a much more appealing console, especially if it is going to be around the $300 mark, than some incredibly powerful unit that is most likely going to be 500 plus. That there's not really any games that are going to take advantage of the power.
Say medium's the only thing on the line that they have that would truly take advantage of the X. Well, I imagine Hellblade sequel probably will as well.
I mean, it will do. But again, I mean, like for the vast number of Xbox console users, the Hellblade is not going to do the Nintendo numbers that we were.
Maybe they should release the Series X as the flight sim box. Get all those Microsoft flight sim fans buying one. Hey, your PC no longer powerful enough? Don't buy a new PC. Buy a Series X.
Yeah, I mean, you joke, but that might be the way of getting some Series X sales.
Bundle it with a flight stick.
Well, I mean, even if it was like you just went, right, it's keyboard and mouse compatible on the Series X. Right,
apparently, Flight Sim plays better with a pad than it does with a keyboard and mouse. Apparently, the way to play it is with a pad and a keyboard and mouse.
Well, yeah, because you need the extra buttons. Yeah. Because obviously, if you go in full simulation mode, then especially for the more complicated planes, like you're flying a big Boeing or something like that, you've got all the buttons, every single one of them, as if you're a real commercial pilot. So it's a control pad would be almost impossible to do in real time. With just using control pad buttons, but yeah, I don't know. I think I get the feeling the Series X isn't going to kick off until Halo's out.
No,
they're
in a weird place.
They're in a very weird place. I think if they can get the Series S out at a good price, I mean, that's the thing. That might be the Xbox that I'd be tempted with. I know we've said that obviously if xCloud works, then potentially I'll never buy an Xbox again. But xCloud isn't a guarantee to be smooth enough yet. So
isn't going to be as readily, because of the whole Apple situation, isn't going to be as readily available for people as we maybe once thought it might be.
Well, yeah, I mean that's put quite a big spanner in the works, really. So I think that maybe it's something that for someone who at times is quite cynical about Microsoft, I'd be tempted, I think, with a good value Series S. Yeah. Whereas I don't see the point at all at the moment of a Series X for me.
There is,
Yeah, For me, that is. That's not to put any diss on.
Talking
those that
about
want,
subscription services, though,
Mm.
EA have rebranded theirs.
Yes, they have. Yeah, to EA Play now.
Yep, and it's called that across all platforms, both because it used to be, I think it was Origin Access for the PC.
Yeah.
And EA Access for Xbox.
Mm.
So it was an Xbox exclusive.
Well, it's because they did have I suppose they still do. The Origin Access would have been because it was part of the Origin store, wasn't it?
Yes,
so,
and they still is that. It's now called EA Play Pro.
Yeah.
And that is still linked to the Origin store.
Mm.
And then EA Play is coming to Steam and PlayStation as well.
Yeah, and obviously the EA Play Pro is only on PC.
PC, yes,
Yeah.
and only on Origin, so you can't use Steam for it.
And only on Origin. However, you were telling me the prices earlier, and I think if you're a sports fan,
yeah, for UK prices $14.99, $89.99. I think.
So that's month and year.
Yep, and then dollar is $19.99 coupled with $99.99.
Yeah.
If you're paying in the American monies.
So for £90, if you're a sports fan,
yeah,
forget all other games. If you're a sports fan and you've got a reasonable enough PC to do all this, you've got FIFA, which is comfortably £60 or £70 for the version that most people probably want because of all the online trading cards and stuff like that. You've got Madden. They still do a basketball game.
NBA,
yeah, the NBA. They do a hockey game, I think, still.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods still? Is it Tiger Woods anymore?
It's not Tiger Woods, no. It's just PGA golf.
Yeah.
They've got a golf game. They still do the UFC title, I think, from time to time.
Skate's coming back.
Skate's coming back. They're teasing a new Fight Night. There's obviously the successors to the Street games.
Yeah.
If you're a sports fan, of course, Need for Speed. If you like a bit of driving as well, £90 for all that. And that's just in 1 year. That's every year.
You'd pay that for one or two of those games.
You'd pay that for 1.5 games.
Yeah, especially if you're going for the deluxe editions, which is apparently included in.
Yeah,
Pro.
That's crazy good value. So, if you've got a powerful enough PC to actually do justice to these games, then £90, happy days.
And then pulling away from Pro to the other side, that is also relatively good value for money. It is $19.99 for the year, or $3.99 a month.
To be honest, I'd probably just go straight to the £20
for the year.
Yeah. Because you said you get it's essentially a 10-hour demo
of some new games,
of some of the new games, which means that for Star Wars Squadrons, neither of us are particularly good at online games. We're alright, but we're not great, so we're probably not going to be playing the multiplayer too much. It sounds like Squadrons is probably a sub 10-hour game. You could smash most of that game as part of your subscription.
And it's £15 less, and it's cost you £15 less than buying the game.
Yeah.
So it all depends on how. Obviously, it comes into how much replay value you think. And I imagine at some point, if you've bought the year right, it's going to drop into the free games you get included anyway.
It probably will do. So once you've had your little dabble with it, and potentially completed the story mission, at some point down the line, then it probably will be part of the subscription package. And then for people like us who aren't necessarily big multiplayer or online players, we could have a little go then and see how badly we get killed.
I think I'd like to do at some point a future news episode or future segment where we break down the cost of all the sub-services.
I think
you get if you actually subscribe to them all.
Yeah.
how much that would cost you in a year, and whether that would actually be a
Worth
high
it.
value a valuable proposition. Yeah.
I think for someone like myself, I I do put a lot of hours into gaming, but I don't necessarily play a lot of games.
Yeah.
So for me, I think if I had the disposable income, it would probably be quite a good thing, because then I'd get even more choice to have a little dabble here and a little dabble there and do this and do that.
Well,
But as it currently stands, I think for me it probably wouldn't necessarily be worth it, because actually, like, PS Plus and the 2 games I get a month give me more than enough of a value for money of what I want.
yeah.
And likewise, you've got Game Pass, haven't you?
I have
So,
Game Pass and Now.
Yeah.
I picked up a year of Now when it was on sale a bit ago.
Mm.
And when it comes to video streaming services, other than the niche channels, I subscribe to this country's big 3. Technically 4, because one of them is 2 services. I have both Now TV flavours,
Yep.
Amazon and Netflix.
Yeah, I have Netflix. I have access to Amazon, but I don't have it myself. I have the WWE Network, so I'm a big wrestling fan. And to be perfectly honest, with how expensive the pay-per-views are, even if
Yeah.
I don't watch anything but pay-per-views a month,
You make your money back.
I make my money back.
That's
So,
the thing. With I might. It may not be the most cost-effective thing, because I might maybe go a month and not use one of the services, but I like
Yeah.
that I've got the access
Yeah,
to the 4 of them. Oh, Disney Plus now in this country as well.
yeah.
That's one, but I paid for the year up front on that one because it was more valuable than paying monthly.
Yeah, yeah. I think
I think I'm slowly planning on shifting a lot of my subscriptions to yearly costs, because I actually think in the long run,
I think when
it
they
is,
offer it,
yeah.
it's not a bad thing. Like, not everyone offers it. That's the problem.
and then you also, not that you should do this, I guess, but no, you should. Every now and again, it's worth threatening to cancel one of them, because they'll usually give it you cheaper for a couple of months.
I mean, I think one of the things I'd like with some streaming services, because like mentioning WWE Network, like it's a very, I suppose, American-minded system, in that new members get 3 months and stuff like that. So you get a 3-month trial, and they always do that, and they're always smashing it. Especially like WrestleMania, like, get WrestleMania for free. Like, they scream it from the rafters.
Well, the hope is that people forget
And,
to cancel, isn't it?
I mean, it is, but I think it would be quite nice to reward loyal customers with things like, especially with the WWE Network, they've got other streams of revenue. So even if it's simple things like, say, for every month that you remember, you get like reward points, like you do when you do your shopping at a supermarket or something like that. You get reward points that you can then spend on tickets, or spending towards merchandise or something like that.
But you shouldn't have to threaten to leave to get a deal, kind of thing.
I don't even care about money off. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like, I'll happily spend that money, and I don't need anything. I don't really need anything to sweeten the deal. But at the same time, if it's like for consecutive months, and it's almost like they reward you for having consecutive months as a membership, then, like, say next time it comes around that there's they're touring in this country, or NXT UK are putting a show on,
Microsoft
has
has
discounted
started a reward scheme recently where you get awards for playing games via Game Pass, right?
Sony do it as well, actually.
But I'm not sure what the points can be converted into.
With Sony, it's hours played. It's literally like so I think if you're a PlayStation Plus member and it's hours played, you can go on to your onto the website for PlayStation, find your account, and they'll reward you with with things. I don't play enough or enough
Yeah.
variety for them to give me anything that I want at the moment. But like, it could be simple things like you get 6 months free of PlayStation
Yeah.
Magazine or something like that.
Well, we've to be fair, we've come far off a beaten track here.
We have a little bit, although we're still sort of within games.
How about the news? Well, the rumours out of Nintendo.
This bad boy behind me is possibly getting a beefier brother next year.
A Switch
I
XL.
I don't think it'll be an XL. I think it'll be a Pro. I think
Pro just does not feel like a term Nintendo would use.
I don't think they'll call it Pro. I think you're probably right that it will be XL. I can't see it being.
Oh, it's not going to be bigger. No.
No, I think it'll be the same size as that, but with a smaller bezel. So
Yeah.
The XL will refer to the screen size, and the
Potentially a higher resolution screen. Maybe they'll put a 1080 screen in there.
I mean, they could even go as high as a 1440 in there.
They won't.
I mean, it would be weird. But I mean, that's Nintendo. Nintendo are a bit weird.
My monitor's a 1440 here.
Yeah,
It's fine for most things. Like, I'm even contemplating hooking up. I've got my Switch and my PC and my MacBook hooked up to this monitor for various different things, and I've contemplated hooking up the Xbox and the PlayStation as well, and just turning this entire desk into
a gaming
area, yeah, as well as a work area, as opposed to taking up the TV in the living room. Because
I don't know.
1440 is a decent resolution.
1440 is fine, especially when you sat that close to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really an issue. So I think definitely it'll be 1080. I think they can squeeze nearly an extra inch out of that when they get rid of the bezel.
Yeah.
That's the
problem, isn't it? It needs.
I'd imagine HDR.
It needs more active cooling than a tablet does, as in that's why you've got the two vents on the top of it. And
it does, but then also because because they don't want it breaking, whereas tablets, in theory, because they're not made for gaming, but you can still run excessively juice hungry games on tablets and phones.
Depends on the tablets and phones, but
yeah, but I mean they'll get to a point where it'll burn your hand off while you're holding it.
Hey, you can get fans to strap to the back of them now.
Woo.
I've even seen a water cooler for a phone.
Crikey.
Off Wish.
I think it will be.
I don't think the tablet will be. I don't think the handheld mode will be HDR, but I do think potentially it'll be HDR 4K on a TV.
I'm not sure. I don't think it'll be true 4K. I think it's going to be what the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox One X do. So it's going to be a 1080 or a 1440.
Nintendo doesn't need.
Upscale.
I mean, at least for Nintendo games, they're not out here making hyper realistic games. Like,
they're not.
Two of the best looking games of this generation are Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild.
They are, but the issue there is, as more and more people get 4K TVs, it isn't necessarily that Nintendo's suddenly going to change their art style or anything. It's just that those images will start to look a bit jaggedy, and so if there's an output setting where there's an upscale of sorts, it doesn't need to be native 4K, but if there's a decent upscale. Whether it's through checkerboarding or I can't remember there's another thing on PC games that essentially is a rival format to checkerboarding.
I think they could even go. I honestly think as long as it's fully backwards compatible, which it would be, I think they could go full in on calling it a Switch 2. I think they could get away with it.
Yeah,
I know it's not been 5 years, but I think it
doesn't need to be though. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we the original Xbox was only 4 years.
It would still have to be aggressively costed, like, because that was the thing with the Switch. It was great value for money, right?
And the thing is, it still will be good value for money because next year, obviously, the PS4 and the Xbox One are going to be the outgoing consoles.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be a case of, like, if you're saying that when docked onto your TV, there is a 4K output, even if it is a checkerboarded 4K output, but there's a 4K output on this thing, when the brand new PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and especially the Series S, if the Series S does not do 4K and is only putting out a 1080 signal, and the Switch 2 or Switch Pro or Switch XL is putting out a 4K signal of some sort, then it could be the same price as the Series S, and that's fine. It could be slightly more expensive than the Series S, and that would still be fine.
Launch it with Breath of the Wild 2?
Well, yeah, because it's not meant to be too far off. Obviously, there's the Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
Just
God knows how far away, if it's ever going to happen.
I think it probably will.
The game was scrapped and started from afresh again.
The kind of game that it is, if anything coming from Nintendo, from internally at Nintendo, needs a higher resolution and needs to look a bit more like the other consoles would do, it would be a Metroid Prime game.
It would, but there's not a chance Metroid Prime is a 2021 game.
I'm not saying it would be. If they treat the release of the Switch 2 or the Switch Pro or whatever they call it in the same way that they treated the release of the original Switch, then ideally Zelda comes out day one.
Yeah.
And then in the first year, because you have a launch year as opposed to a small launch period.
Yeah, the launch year of the Switch was
unbelievable,
phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zelda in May. It might have been April even. I forget. I think it was April the Switch launched. Mario in October. A bunch of other great games in between.
Wasn't it February?
No, not quite that early. March maybe,
yeah. So it had, incredible year. So if they can do something similar to that, like, obviously it looks like Breath of the Wild 2 is not too far off, so they could deliberately time the release for that.
Yeah.
There's no rush, which means that potentially to bookend the launch year, Metroid Prime 4 might be ready. And of course it would be something that would take advantage of the new power and everything like that. It would look beautiful. In the meantime, if they could have a team working on a proper up-resing of the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And getting them ready to go. So obviously you've got that gap, you've got that filler time, so you could actually have all 4 Metroid Prime games come out for the Switch 2.
Speaking of
in opening year.
Speaking of Nintendo rumours as well, we've got, in theory, we've still got the 35th anniversary Mario collection to come. That might be this year's winter holiday season game.
I think, I think because they've been quite quiet.
Yeah.
And part of that seems because potentially they've been finalising internally what's going to happen with the Switch 2. But also because I think they're just being sensible and they're watching the other two big console manufacturers. They're always going to make more noise at the moment anyway. Let's just sit back, relax, wait for it. As soon as the price for the two, the first Sony and Microsoft is announced, as soon as those prices are announced, Nintendo will come out the next day and say, "Look, it's the Mario back catalogue."
Yeah, and that would be potentially my most anticipated thing of a holiday season if they.
Exactly, because Halo does. With Halo not being out, Microsoft definitely doesn't have anything sales-wise that's going to compete with remastered Mario games.
So the rumour is it's Mario 64.
Yeah.
Sunshine.
Yeah, and Galaxy.
Both Galaxies, yeah.
Yeah.
So for 4 3D Mario games. Apparently Super Mario World 3D is getting its own separate re-release.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I was them, I would just stick the 3NES and the SNES game on there as well. Mario Bros 1 through 3 and Super Mario World, right? Because they've got those ROMs lying around. It's not going to cost them anything just to stick them on the
They're not big files
on the
either.
card. Yeah, like
so you could get them on there quite comfortably.
Yeah, like they're already on the Switch. You can play them via the if you have Nintendo Online. You get them included in that, but sticking them on the may as well.
Yeah. I think you're not right. You're not wrong there, because they could charge a reasonable amount of money for all that as well.
Yeah, what I would love to see come to Nintendo, especially as they're filling out the SNES
there'll
and
be
the
another
NES.
special edition Switch for it, obviously.
You know, there was always rumours we were going to get the Game Boy Classic, but we never did. I would just like them to release like Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games on the Switch.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with that strange kickstarted handheld thing on the way.
Yeah, that plays Game Boy games if you still have them. The problem with a lot of original cartridges is the batteries in them are starting to.
Yeah.
So save files don't work and things like that. And you're not getting. There's no new cartridges coming. So as time goes on, buying old Game Boy games is going to be
hard.
Yeah, more and more difficult because they're just not going to work. Or at least they'll play, but you won't be able to save them.
Yeah, I think that's because they're going to have to think of a smart way around that, where potentially it tricks the cartridge into reading a save file on the machine as opposed to a save file in itself.
Yeah, I guess because obviously if you're playing a ROM, and you shouldn't because that's illegal unless you own the original cartridge. But if you're obviously
it's got to be dubious these things that will play the cartridges, what the legality of that is.
Probably not worth Nintendo coming.
No, because it's not like Nintendo are going to suddenly lose sales, because it's not like they're selling the
Game Boys,
the 1989 release of Game Boys anymore. So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting times, definitely. I think we've probably discussed most of the important news. There were some nice little indie games, a couple of more impressive indie games at Gamescom as well. Although some of them were just like cutscenes and stuff, so like pre-rendered, whatever. But I mean, it was nice to see.
I started playing Thingy last night.
Go on.
Started playing the PS4 Ratchet and Clank. I thought
nice.
I figured I want to play it before I play the new one.
Yeah.
So I've started playing that.
What do you think?
So it's stunning.
It is, isn't it?
It's. I know it's a cliche to say, but it's Pixar level.
Yeah.
Like animation, like it's.
Yeah.
It's very good.
I with all the new bells and whistles that they've got with the new engine, for the PlayStation 5. I know they had a failed movie that came out alongside the last game for the PlayStation 4. But that was because it was a Sony Studios movie, and they obviously didn't get the writing team from Insomniac, and they didn't so some of the humour and what have you wasn't necessarily there. I wonder if Insomniac would be tempted to have a crack at making a film, because you look at how absolutely gorgeous that new one is. They know how to do voice acting. They know how to write. They know how to get humour.
Yeah.
They understand action.
Maybe
With the PlayStation 5 engine, they could make a film like almost just for fun,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't necessarily cost, in the grand scheme of things, it wouldn't necessarily cost a lot. And even if it just went out through the PlayStation, as weird as that would be,
Yeah,
like even if it was just like, here's a movie,
Yeah, I get you.
like
It could be cool.
If a PlayStation Plus drop 1 month was like, here's 2 games and a Ratchet and Clank film,
Yeah.
or even a TV series, like a short series,
Yeah.
Because I mean that's the thing, that we're getting to that point now with
Epic Games at the moment I've not played any of it yet, but Epic have been releasing a video game sitcom set in a video game studio that you play through a little bit, but it's mostly pre-done stuff, and each month a new episode releases.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that is cool. But I think, I mean, with mentioning Epic, obviously, they have a huge cinema grade asset toolbox to play with. In fact, they provided a lot of the assets for The Mandalorian. Yeah, because all the special effects in Mandalorian are made with Unreal Engine 4.
Yeah.
And so they use Epic's like cine scanned rocks and things like that for what they're doing. So we are, in theory, at that point where maybe a studio.
I mean, yeah, if ILM of all people are using Unreal.
Yeah. Because they I think it's because it's there, it's quick, and it's and because it's for a television series.
Yeah.
And that was the reason that George always held off on making a Star Wars TV series, was because of how long it would take to do stuff. Obviously, it doesn't need to be rendered in real time. But the engine now and the assets that people are using are so high grade that obviously you look at how beautiful Ratchet and Clank is already.
Yeah.
If they had time to pre-render all of that, they could put out a even just a 1 hour special, and it would look cinema grade.
Yeah.
Because they could pre-render it all. It would be in true 4K, true HDR. It would be unbelievable. And so we might be at that stage in this generation, especially with things like Dreams that have a movie making function. Unreal has a movie making function. Unity has a movie making function. All of those.
That could be fun if we're ever truly bored. Do an entire episode of a show in Dreams.
It's something that you can do though. So yeah. So you've been playing Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I've not played much recently. Ratchet and Clank was first time yesterday of me booting something up. I mentioned to you earlier I installed Flight Sim.
Oh yeah.
I started the first tutorial mission. I was just like, yeah, this is not something for me.
Yeah, I think you also mentioned in a chat off camera that potentially the Series X is the Flight Sim box.
Yeah.
Now that Halo's been pushed, that with how beefy and chunky Flight Sim is, like, it is demanding. I watched the Digital Foundry review of it a few weeks back, and again, those guys have access to all the PC power that you could possibly get a hold of, realistically anyway.
Yeah.
That a normal person would have access to anyway. Like, in theory, you could make a monster if you had 20 or 30 grand to spend, but they were playing it on 2 or 3 grand's worth of PC, and they still couldn't get it on the highest settings across all the boards. Right? So I mean, it's a truly future-proofed game that if Microsoft want to push the Series X in the meantime, and it might just be for a niche audience, it could be, as you said earlier, for people whose PC is a little bit older now, but is still powerful enough for them to do their work on, but
Yeah.
not necessarily play their games on. $500, 500 quid, whatever it is. There's a pre-built PC for you.
Like,
That will play the vast majority of your Microsoft available PC games.
yeah.
So, it's a choice. For me, mainly Fall Guys.
Yeah. I need to
When
play a
I
bit
have
more
been
Fall
gaming.
Guys. I have enjoyed what I've played. I'm not good at it, but we need to play together.
Yeah, we do. I'm not necessarily good at it. I still haven't got a crown yet. That doesn't stop me from wanting to play it. It's so much fun, especially after when the wife's finished work. At the end of the day, we've had our dinner, and I've done whatever I do for the day. Even just for half an hour, just to wind down.
Yeah.
Like if you were watching a game show. Like
That's
you
the
might
thing.
do it at 7:30.
I heard someone refer to it as a battle royale, and I hadn't thought of it as a battle royale, but it is a battle royale.
I mean, it is a battle royale.
Yeah.
That's how they've explained it to people
Yeah.
anyway. And I suppose really it's what it is. But it's at its heart really it's a fun game show to watch.
Ooh,
And
there's another
I'm
battle royale coming up.
really enjoying it.
Soon. Battle royales aren't my kind of game, but there's one out where you play wizards. Out shortly. You play wizards hurling spells at each other,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you put that skin over. It's still very much you're in an arena shooting at each other as the
Yeah.
arena closes in, like Fortnite, like PUBG or Apex Legends. But it turns out you replace the guns with spells, and I start to become interested. Like, watching it, I'm like, I'm going to give this a go. It's free to
Yeah.
play, so why not?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's out, I think, this Friday. I forget the name of it, but I'm going to be giving that a try.
See, I'd play a Gran Turismo Battle Royale if it was like at Le Mans or the Nürburgring or something like that, and they had.
Isn't that basically a time trial race where the last person through the checkpoints just drops off? Isn't that what a racing battle royale is?
You could do it that way, but with how Gran Turismo likes to try and make it about sportsmanship and about fair driving and accuracy and stuff like that, I'd have it that, say, if you went off, that it doesn't respawn you back onto the track. That's it, you're gone.
Yeah.
So, or if you reach a certain amount of penalty points, you're gone.
Yeah.
Those sort of things. Obviously, for anyone who plays Gran Turismo at the moment, the penalty system is a little bit off. I kind of like it because it is forcing people to drive a lot more considerately, because there are far too many people still who just want to treat it like Burnout. But it does need a little tweak. But yeah, I mean, something like that would I'd enjoy that. Almost like an endurance race, because I'd set tyre wear on, I'd set fuel consumption on, but I'd set it at regular level. So you also have to keep an eye on your tyre wear. You also have to keep an eye on your fuel consumption. So it could be like a 2-hour drive. And you've got to balance all of these driving skills to get as far as you can to get that battle royale, with no pitting, obviously. So, but yeah, I mean, I haven't been playing a lot of Gran Turismo in the last couple of weeks. It's the track and car selection, to be honest, for my skill and my style, just have not been there. It's been hard, real hard. But I have a feeling it'll be the same this week. So
yeah.
But other than that, yeah, not a lot.
I think on that note, we shall say goodbye then.
Definitely, James. Definitely. It feels like it's going to be a period where there might actually be a little bit more news.
Yeah. So we'll be here discussing that.
Yeah. So.
However, if there isn't news, you can always catch us on our more regularly scheduled cinema podcasts.
Film
we've
podcast.
got a final episode of Double Bill Film Club coming up soon, and then we're going to be launching something
season
new.
1 anyway.
And if you prefer your gaming analog style, we've got some tabletop coverage coming soon as well.
Indeed, yeah, you're taking the reins on that one. I will be present.
I have come up with a potentially working title for the role-playing game show.
As a complete novice, I'll probably be the comic relief in that one, because I will not have a clue what I'm doing.
It's why I have picked a comedy-themed game for the first one, because I know you lean that way.
So we'll see what James does to me, because I assume you're being the dungeon master on that one.
I am, yes.
Yeah, so we'll see what cruelty he inflicts on this novice, joining him and his somewhat more experienced crew for some tabletop gaming. So, on that note, thanks very much, James. I'll see you soon. And, like and subscribe, everyone. Thank you. Bye.